Big question that I was curious about before I got to see any of the episodes. If you are a viewer that does not have like the institutional knowledge of NCIS, say you haven't sat down and watched 500 episodes of a single show, or 1,000 episodes of all of its subsidiaries, can you easily jump into this new series, John? Like, is this something that you feel like people can kind of jump into and say, I've not met Tony and Ziva before, but here we go, and I'm going to ride this ship?
I do, but also the clip you saw at the very top is actually going to play at the very beginning of this episode. So what you'll see as a viewer is what we call the saga show, which is sort of the history of Tony and Ziva. And then we cut right to Budapest and the might not be living. So I do feel that we've tried to like walk a balance between what really like institutional viewers who know it cold. I don't think they'll be bored. Hopefully it'll be like almost nostalgic to see those older episodes. And then the new viewers are like, oh wow, they're like a thing. Oh wow, that's cool. Oh, okay, I get it. So
nice. I'll say from my perspective, I watched the first episode. I would consider myself an institutional viewer. I've seen a lot of them. I will say, I got like, I watched it, and I called both of you, and I said, I didn't know I would have that emotional reaction.
Well, you called and you said, it got me, Cody, and I said, what do you mean by that? And you said, I got teary-eyed. Like, you were very much affected by it, moved.
Yeah. No, I straight up was like, I've seen these guys do a lot of different shows, a lot of episodes, lots of scenes. And of course those special moments and whatnot, but within the first episode of that, who knew? That's pretty fantastic. On the flip side of that question though, for the people that have seen, and I'm sure a lot of these folks here have seen a lot of NCIS, are we going to see some Easter eggs? Are we going to see some shout outs to the original or to any other characters or perhaps storylines, anything like that?
There's a couple of shout-outs in the middle of scenes throughout the first season. You know, we will be in the middle of a situation.
Sure.
And we'll say something like, oh, what would...
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
But yes,
the point of the Easter egg is you have to find it. So tell them where the Easter eggs are, then they don't... That's not an Easter egg hunt.
Then it's just an egg.
It's not hard to act with you.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question that I've gotten asked many times. I know you two have as well, but I'm going to throw this out to all three of you, John. What do you think it is about NCIS that has kept people watching for so long? This franchise, this IP across the world. Now, we're not just talking domestically, we're talking all the places you shot and hundreds of other territories. It's a #1 product, so another #1 show. What has drawn people to keep coming back to this show and its sister franchises? And in particular, what is drawing people to these two characters?
Family.
It was always about family. The mothership was always that. And we knew that we had something that was quite magical because we'd show up to work and it never felt like work. We were always, playing. We were part of that and the rest of the cast. And none of us wanted to play anyone else's character. We were all very happy playing our character. And we loved our characters,
And also all the fans that we have run into over the 20 years of Tony and Ziva, they're always really talking about watching it with their family.
Yes.
So the show is about a kind of family dynamic, but it's actually like multi-generational, like people would binge it on a USA marathon, or they'd, during COVID, during the pandemic, or whole like sorority houses would sit down and eat funny brownies.
And we have like so many stories about fans coming up. I was just in Greece a couple of weeks ago, and I went to this little taverna by the water, family, friends, and all of a sudden, somebody from the kitchen, an apron comes out, and she goes, "Oh, I can't believe it." And I was like, "Hi," you know? And then she came really close and she held my, "Why are you laughing?"
I thought of a joke and then I...
Of course. It's amazing, you know, that's what ages does. It's done something amazing, just now he just was trained.
I'll tell you something.
Okay, great. Should I even tell the story yet?
The lady comes out of the kitchen, the Greek with the taverna,
and then she holds my hands. Why am I getting angry? And then she holds my hands, and then she proceeds to have this incredible moment. I jacked my Michael Wagarites, and I did not. You laughed anyway.
I smiled
Loudly.
Which is how I got my job.
Which is how I got my job. Anger.
So
Anyway.
the lady comes out of the kitchen. She's got
Yes, and she holds my hands, and she says, I can't believe you're here. My father recently passed away. This was the Slip it! Please! Let me just get to the end of it! And anyway, that's the story. Because I'm not gonna get to it to understand. This is what my life is like with Michael. I love him, but I hate him, but I love him, but I hate him, but I love him.
And I love you.
It was a magical moment with this Greek woman in this taverna. Thank you.
And she loved you.
This is why people love Tony and Ziva, right here. This is it.
This could be an episode.
This plays during the closing credits of every episode. It's just them talking. It's fantastic.
If by episode you mean like a seizure episode.
Speaking of episodes, was there an episode that was particularly hard to film, or like emotionally or technically?
Technically, every single one.
Every single one?
Yes. We were very ambitious,
Yeah.
and we had the support of an incredible studio in CBS, incredible support from Paramount Plus.
Yes.
They were so just enthusiastic, B supportive, and C diligent. I would get sometimes, notes as one does as a producer, and I was sort of in awe of like, man, they're really reading the script. Like, they're really paying attention. They're really calling out inconsistencies. So yeah, the challenge was always balancing the size of the epic, which is big, and the size of the crew. And if you, one small example is that car chase you saw, filmed over 5 nights in Budapest in February. Every single person you saw on screen is a stunt driver or a stuntman. So over 150 European, the best stunt people in Europe. But at the same time, and I think this is pretty true for Michael and Cody, the emotional intensity of the small scenes, that really I don't want to get any way, but there's some stuff that's so real, I still watch it like this. God, I hope my wife doesn't see this because she'll say what Ziva just said to Tony and I'll cry. So it was a combination of scale and then their ability to take an intense scene and make it seem just as epic as a great car chase or a great gunfight.
But sometimes in this show, it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit and you're on a 1969 bus, stick shift prison bus with 100 background artists. Everyone's sweating a little bit. Kind of smells like a zoo. And this smells to me. It's my musk. But you and I had to do that whole scene, or we're on a boat on the Danube, or we're in a church and we're doing all these. There's a lot more in the church. There were always these confounding areas where we're like, how the heck are we going to do that? But then the minute we locked into each other, and the stuff that we were doing while we're hearing about the woman in the Greek taverna, that's something that Cody and I, she tolerates, my desire to kind of jump in with her and play. But that playfulness is really, it takes a huge amount of trust to do that. And we do it. Yeah. You trust me a little bit.
I trust you a lot.
I trust you with everything.
That's earned.
I'd say after 20 years, the trust is probably there all the time. But it was fantastic to see, like you're saying, the technical across all those locations as well.
Yeah.
And then no matter, the only thing I'm gonna away is that no matter where you guys went, there was that connection that was there that made it feel like, okay, the viewer's at home because you two are there.
Well, that's what, often if you are writing something that is action-based or suspense-based and is very plotty, you can sort of lose track of the characters and you do what I call hydroplane. You're so slick and you're moving so fast that the characters stop mattering. And the great thing about working with Michael and Cody and the entire cast and the history that they bring to this and the stakes of their daughter, their relationship, their future, their past, I felt free to be like, yeah, I'm going to blow up that entire town. But it's going to actually mean something emotionally to the audience because of that. And so, in a way, I got to play in a bigger field than I've ever played in my life. I've never shot anything like this in my life. I mean, ever. But it was because I could always say I'm going to go back to them.
Yeah.
And close up.
Well, it reminded me of something our dear friend Rocky Carroll says, which is, man, we're playing with house money. Like, let's go, let's blow it out. Let's have a great time and do this thing.
I like what Daniel Craig said about being in the Bond world.
Yeah.
He said you're breathing rarefied air. I felt that every day, and not just because of the scale and the size and the stunts, but the rarefied air of really being able to dig down deep into characters who brought history, who brought, incredible chemistry, and themselves are incredible artists. It sounds like a eulogy, I'm sorry.
I will say this, it's a little bit, they talk about, for example, the espionage, and they talk about, car sequences, and,
Because that stuff is cool.
And all that. I like to talk about all the emotional stuff, and I keep going back to the same thing. It's an epic love story that has not yet been resolved, and we're going to find out what happens to them and what that journey has been and how they get from point A to point B. So
It's not a will they, won't they. It's a when will they.
it's when they.
Right. So.
All right, so I think you guys know that there's one question that will inevitably come up, but do you think there's any way for a crossover to happen between Tony and Ziva and any other NCIS show, aside from the wonderful, I think there's a 3-episode arc with Jimmy Palmer you have planned for next season. But anyhow, what are your ideas? Both as a writer and for the three of you as executive producers, do you see a world in which the worlds of a procedural, long-based television show and a serialized action romance thriller can cross the streams?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? That's like playing with house money.
Right.
It's like it's only going to add, it's only the attitude. And it's only going to make them seem more realistic and more emotionally grounded. They're not just going to forget about you guys. And in fact, not a spoiler, but characters are called out by name several times.
Yes.
In a very loving, sometimes very sarcastic way. But to me, that as we were filming those episodes and the scenes, I felt like we were almost setting the spike for exactly what you're talking about.
Nice.
And you really want to go to Budapest.
I do.
You should. It's beautiful.
Does anyone want to join me?
One of the most beautiful cities I've ever lived in for a year in a hotel room.
nice hotel.
Oh, I'm not complaining. I was breathing rarefied air, but also,
You were living inside a Wes Anderson movie earlier.
literally was. But also, it's an incredible country with incredible culture. You should absolutely want to work. And the crew, I got a big shout out to. There was Hungary and another country. I don't want to ruin that surprise. But I was astounded at the professionalism, the passion, and the incredible courtesy. You were so welcome.
So nice.
Yeah, it was great. It really was.
In the middle of takes, of course they would be very professional, but every once in a while Michael would do something funny, and you'd see the captain, much like in the mothership.
Yeah.
You'd see Johnny go, and you'd be like, and it was the same thing. So we were able to take a little bit of that into this. And it wasn't, I guess now that I hear myself, it's not that we were taking it, we were a part of something that was special, and that thing here is still very much present.
And you brought it with you.
Yeah, and it's there.
It's you. Yeah.
I just think it would be just better storytelling to start to pull threads together. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I don't have any ideas. I'm completely out of ideas. I just spent a year in Europe, so I'm flat out. But I'll refill the tank and talk to these guys. We'll figure it out.
I think there are many, many, many stories with this established relationship with these two characters, and I can't think of a better note to end on. But and so thank you to everyone for coming out today. Thank you very much to Dr. McNamara, to Cody Obama, to Michael Weatherly. We're going to leave you a little something, so don't forget to check out NCIS, Tony and Ziva on Paramount Plus. That's September 4th. That's 9/4. Cody?
Yes, there's a very interesting clip.
A clip of the
It's a 9.4.
9.4?
9.4, if you recall, is the name of our MacGuffin. It's this incredibly high-tech AI that can steal money like that.
Let's get into this. Can we roll that?